I'm so glad to talk to you. I've told you time and time again, you are my ultimate favorite person to interview. And
We, well, feelings mutual.
well, I had talked to Jen Ledger last night. I went to Winter Jam and I told her, I said, you are my absolute favorite female to interview. And I said, but the all time favorite is still John Schlitt. You haven't, no one's knocked him out of that spot yet. You're still my favorite to interview.
Well, I hope she didn't mind being coming in second.
She thought it, she was in really good company.
That was nice. That was nice of to say. How was Winter Jam?
Oh, it was amazing. It really was. There was 10 bands. So, I mean, it started at like 5 something, like a little after 5, and it didn't stop until like 10:30. So, and they had, Jen Ledger of Skillet. She was there as her solo project doing the rock, but then you had like Ren Collective doing like Southern music, and Danny Goki, Mandisa, and then of course the Newsboys. It was amazing. It always is to have all. I like having all those different styles, in one place like that.
Oh, absolutely,
It was missing
absolutely.
some John Schlitt though. We need some like rockin' where it's that gravelly, gritty rock. We needed some of that.
Well, they've never asked me. I'll tell you what, it's so funny. They've never asked me. I'm just not high enough on the charts for them.
Well, it's I think you're retro. You've been around for a while, just a couple of years.
But just yeah, for a couple of years. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's been more than a couple of decades, right? Uh,
Actually, yeah, yeah. It's been if you included my secular days, it's been about 5 decades. So it's,
oh my gosh.
yeah, it's very very different. Yeah, it's surprising to look back and realize that recorded history is 50 years. So that's
Wow.
that makes me feel a little old, kiddo. But other than that, I'm just doing great.
You're not old. Your spirit is so young. I don't know how you're still rocking like you are, but your voice has not. You think it with that like gritty, gravelly sound. You think it would like start to diminish over time, but it doesn't. It's just still amazing. I got the new single, "Fighting the Fight," and I love it because I grew up in the '80s, and it reminded me of like some like slow docking or something like that. I was like, oh, it just I love that sound, and it's a really great single. I was like hoping to rock out, and then it was like slower, and I was like, no, I'm okay with this one too.
Well, I tell you what, it has a strange circumstance, but I thought, I haven't done a song really solo wise for like 6 years. Uh, this was like I said, unusual circumstance. A friend of mine asked me to record one of his songs, um, and I said, "Oh, okay, I'll listen to it." It was a nice song. The demo was very different from what ended up being, but I liked the words, and he wanted John Lowry to produce it. And I said, "Now that's a smart move."
Yeah.
And John and I went. John and I went and did it the first time the way that the demo that he sent to us was, and it was a nice demo. I was like, "You sure you want me to do this? That sounds real nice now, buddy." And he says, "No, we got to have your voice on it." He's, I mean, very ad about it. So I did it that way, and John and I listened to it. Says, "This just isn't. It's not you, John." So we went in and redid it 3 times actually, and redid
Wow.
it and tried to juice it up, but not take it too far away from what he saw originally. And finally, I went to him. His name is Ryan Horn. I said, "Ryan, if you want me to do this, I need to do it what I want. I need to do it." He goes, "Oh, that's what I wanted, John. That's what I wanted." Okay, so John and I went back in and redid it the third time, and then you hear what it is now. So I thought, you know what, a slow song is beautiful. The words are great. This is the way it needs to be done. And I'm so glad that you like it, really. And now I will tell you that between you and me, it's very possible there'll be some follow-ups coming up pretty quick that
All
will
right.
be more to the rock pace that you're used to. So
Well, I like them both, and because even when you slow it down, I still feel it. I still feel that gritty rock, you know. Um, so I don't lose the John. That's okay as long as I can still hear that voice. It is so. It's. I swear I could hear any song and know that it was you if you were singing it. You just have such a distinctive voice, and I'm so excited because you know I was looking at your history. You were solo, and then of course you were singing for Petra, and but now you're solo, but you've got two other bands you're in.
yeah, yeah, and you know what? I am very blessed to be able to do it. I've got yeah, I'm in two bands right now, and I've also I've actually got another couple of bands that I go out with as a solo artist. And when I say bands, we're talking like three guys plus a track plus tracks,
Yeah.
which makes it very easy to go and play in smaller places now, but just to still give them a rock show that because my big audiences, unless I'm in something like Winter Jam or something, if you don't have airplay, you're not going to be able to play for those 2,000
Right.
to 10,000 seat halls, and I'm okay with that because I've done plenty of them. I don't have to prove anything, but I do know that I'm still supposed to go out there and use the voice that God gave me to present the word in any way I can. It's what I'm supposed to do. And when I say the word, I mean not just the songs, not just what I say, but how I act there. I need to be an example of Christ as well as I can be. Trust me, you and I both know that none of us are ever going to go and be perfect in that situation, but I want to
Right.
try to do the best I can. And so I see every opportunity to go out and sing, to be a Christ-like example, and it's a real blessing to be able to do that. And as long as God allows my voice to keep working, hey, come on, let's do it.
I love that attitude. It's so awesome to hear somebody say that, because you had a few other, things going on in the last few years. One of my friends from high school, um, he said, I still listen to Hetty when I wrote that I was going to be interviewing you. And he said, there's never been any reason to stop listening to Hetties. He was trying to use a pun, but he said I still I like him all the way back to the head east, and I'm still listening to him.
Oh, yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned Hetty's because I was mentioning 50 years. It's Hetty's 50th anniversary this year,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm going to go out and do some specials with them.
Oh
We finally made up, and four of the five originals. Dan, our bass player, died from I'm afraid abuse.
oh
But the other four of us are going to get together with what the band is called Hetty's Today, and
wow.
we're going to do all of the original Plaza Pancake, which was the first album that had Never Really Reason on it and all that. And I'm actually excited about it. I'm excited to see the three guys again and play on stage with them. The animosity and the temptations of the past, I've grown, I think, very, very strong against now, and they've changed. It's a different ball game now. We're not a bunch of 20-year-old kids that are being affected by everything the enemy throws out at us. So
Right.
I'm actually very excited about that. The J Secular band, we're doing, I think, some specials this year. The Junior Center and Saints, we're actually doing what you call, I guess, a living room tour. going to be about as intimate as I've ever been. I mean, this is where if you want to have us in your house and
Wow.
invite like 50 of your best friends, it actually could be played in a living room. So it'll be a trio type of thing with tracks and acoustic guitar and that kind of stuff. So this year, not to mention, as I said, as far as we're concerned, I'm working on a new solo CD. So it's going to be a busy year, and I'm very excited about it. Not to mention, John Schlitt Ministries may finally come into a point where, with the right donators or backers, I might be able to finally go out and start doing something I dreamed about, 6-7 years ago. So it's just, when you're available and you want to go out and do your best, God will take it and use it in His plan, which is, of course, the best thing that could ever happen to you. So that's what I'm looking towards today. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good year. And as you pointed out, as far as age, I could care less. As long as God gives me the strength and the endurance and the vocal cords, and I need to go out and be as forward as possible. I mean, that's what the body of Christ, we're supposed to spread. The commission is to spread the word, and this is the only way I know how to do it.
Well, I love it. And the Union of Sinner and Saints, I'm a big Jason Fowler fan. I love him. I love his voice. And I can't wait to see you guys like live, because it's somewhere. I've got to find you guys near me, because I was like, as soon as I saw, I was like, you and Jason together. I was like, yes, that's like magic. I can't wait for that to be. I really like his own solo stuff. So
I
I'm
do too. I mean, Jason he is the real deal too. Trust me, he is a good guy. Absolutely, how to put it? He is so appreciative of Christ. As in my situation, the Lord gave him a second chance, and he does not take that lightly at all. He does some of the most amazing ministry things all over the country. It's a thrill to be part of Jason's life.
and I think, Jason actually kind of reminds me of you, like, as far as his life. And then, he's like super willing to just go out there and do it like you are. Like, want to put 2 or 3 guys together, let's do it. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yes,
got
he is.
he's got that attitude, and he's very stylish. He always reminds me of one of the guys in Need to Breathe. He's got that cool hat look. Um, but anyways, I'm so excited fighting the fight. I'm so glad that we have some new music, and I'm glad to hear like kind of the background of that, because I was definitely going to ask. That's um you know I want to know how Dorla is. Like, she's got to be like so incredible as a wife, because I know this is a long time for her. And I've told everybody, it's not just about the band, but the families behind them supporting them is one of the reasons they can do what they do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my wife is truly a saint. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. I mean, it really is. I've always said she's the spiritual half of our family. She knows exactly. I mean, there have been times when I was first saved, there were Christian bands constantly calling me up and say, "Hey, John, I want you to be," and my wife goes, "No, it's not God. It's not God." As a baby Christian, we were having garage bands, in my area going, "We're a Christian band. We'd love to have you." And I'm thinking, well, I really like to sing. And she looked at me and said, "No, it's not God. It's not God." and that's the kind, I mean, she was a baby Christian right along
Yeah,
with me.
but to have that honesty, it's great.
So I was wise enough in that case to listen. and you saw the results from it. I mean, when Bob called me, I figured she goes, "It's not God," and she's in the kitchen dancing and praising God. I go, "Oh, it must be God."
Oh,
Okay, so
it's so incredible to see. I love your post. You're always so sweet about if you ever post about her. It's such a loving thing, and you know, I know it's been a hard ride at some points, but but her and you, like, I think it's one of the sweetest romances I've seen, like watching like your Facebook posts and everything. And I think the world of her, because I know that I would not get to be a John Schlitt fan without her.
well, I will tell you that you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
Well,
right.
that and Sue, like,
Okay,
Sue's the hero.
yes, Sue's a hero, no doubt about it. Yep, yep,
And she is so funny, even by even like corresponding by email. She can be so funny, and she's so kind, and she's always so gracious about arranging any interview or anything with me. And I want to tell you that the Rocket came out on DVD, that we used your song Run. And one of my thoughts when I heard the song Fighting the Fight is like, see, now I already see that in another movie, like that like that still
praise
sounds
God.
like another movie. And Richard's still doing movies. He's working on a suspense movie right now, and he wrote the whole thing. He wrote it year. It was kind of like a song that you might have wrote 10 years ago, that it's in the back of your mind. You just can't let it go. And he got this idea for this story, and he's just following it through. But I'm telling you that he's one of your biggest fans. I mean, and it was so incredible to see your song in that, and exactly the right part of the movie was kind of the climax of the hero, the underdog kid finally, getting hit. He was a cross country runner. He's finally getting that strength behind him, and then you hear John Schlitt, and I was like, that just amped up my feelings about the movie. And you were so gracious about it, and you're in many movies. There's been several people that have used you.
Well, I know that. Let's put it this way: I don't deserve a thing. I know what kind of person I am, and the fact that God's allowed me to do what I do, and to be part of what I'm part of, is just it's always a blessing. You never take blessings for granted. If you do, that's the beginning of the end for you. God has a loving heart, but He also has a teaching heart.
Yeah.
And there's a godly way to do things. And if you even if you just try to do the godly thing, God is going to go, well done, faithful servant. Good and faithful servant. And even if you fail and you still are trying, that's the kind of loving God we have. But if you go around and start strutting,
yeah,
you start strutting, then it's all on you. And trust me, you're very shallow, and it will not last, because God will go, okay, fine. If you're that big, then go do it.
yeah. If you think you can handle it yourself, you go try.
Yeah, you go. Now, don't get me wrong. I try every day. I mean, I try my best to be whatever situation is. I try to make the wisest decisions, and I try to be as productive as possible for many different reasons, including finances. But knowing the fact that just don't get away from God's plan. Don't. You better be progressive and I won't say ambitious, but competitive. But be careful. Don't slide away from what God's got in store. It's not yours. It's His. So, and I'm talking to me right now. To tell you the truth, I'm actually preaching to myself as I'm speaking to you. And I think that hopefully can bring across a godly presence that is very, I think, useful to all, including the person that's doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was thinking about is you kind of combining with other bands. Um, is there anybody that has been somebody you would really love to do a single with? I'm curious if you kind of have like a favorite, like one or two people that you've kind of wanted to do something with, like a single or get on
Oh
their
my gosh,
tour.
I can name three people right now. I'd love to do a single with Jason.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a duo with John Alfonte,
Yeah.
and I'd love to do a duo with Michael Sweet.
Oh my goodness. Be still my
We've
heart.
got
That would be so awesome.
well, those three are guys that they're friends of mine,
Yeah.
and I think they're all excellent in their genre. And I would think that the combination of the two of us at each situation would be very interesting.
And Michael reminds me of you as well. He's very gracious and he's kind of got that still like I'm gonna still keep rocking if they let me.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
gonna
no,
keep doing it.
Mike and I did a tour together in Brazil,
I remember that.
and
Yeah.
I got to know Mike really well, and I was actually rather pleasantly surprised. He's got a heart of gold. Actually, did an interview with him on my radio show that lasted for a year, but I did get to do actually two shows with him, and it was very interesting, very enriching. It was good. It was a good interview, and his life story is actually very useful to people.
Great
So,
testimony.
and we're going to play together again in April 5th in California. We're going to do the same kind of thing, acoustic duo type of thing. So that should be fun.
You were talking about going to the other side of the globe there. That's you're really big, and Petra is too, like in the other countries around the world, Europe or like they're all very receptive, more receptive than the States are, right?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Because you can see they
But
love having you back.
they respect they here in the states. The music scene is so big, but the secular side of things to me, I think I've said this to you before, is like an ocean, and the Christian side is like a puddle.
Yeah.
But there's still as many fish, and there's only so many fish can swim in this little puddle, and so the older fish get tossed out real quick. Where in the ocean, in the secular side of things, the older artists, if they want to keep doing it, can have. I mean, they can last forever. They're honored. They're put on with much respect. And in the Christian world, for survival, there's no such loyalty. That's in the industry, not with the fans. I mean,
Yeah.
please understand now. But the problem with that, even fans, will fade because they're hearing the newest thing, and that's all they're hearing. And you mentioned me, for instance. Oh yeah, love Petra, love
Yeah.
John. Oh, they're great. But have you heard the Petra song? No, not for a long time. I know they were. I know they were good, and I really loved them. But then once in a while you listen to Petra Rex, go, dang, that's timeless. That sounds fantastic now.
Yeah.
I can say that because all I did was sing, but the musicianship, the writing, the producing was amazing.
That's why people still love it. Is because it really it's that good. The music was just so good.
I agree. And when me doing my solo stuff, I've got a lot to live up to. So when I do a solo record, not only do I have to keep up with Petra's stuff, which is timeless, I've got a couple of solo records that are ridiculous, and I've got to keep up with them too. So it's an exciting time. I mean, it's exciting to do it. I told my son-in-law, who's my producer, or one of my producers this time, that Dan, I'm telling you, I listened to The Greater Cause just recently.
Oh, I love that song.
We got a big act to follow. He listens. No problem. Okay. So it's that. Isn't life cool? Isn't it exciting that your biggest competition sometimes is you?
Yeah, that's a good thing to have. And but your voice is still, to me, it sounds the same. Like it's still so good, and I think that's amazing for somebody who's been in the industry for a while. That your voice still, I don't know, it seems like it just cuts through the melody as soon as you start singing. Like you get into the melody, and as soon as your voice comes on, it just cuts right through it, and it's just such a, I just love
Well,
it.
thank you, kiddo. You are a sweetheart for saying that. I have, it's a gift from God. It's a gift. It was certainly not trained. It's a way it's developed through time. And I've had so many people say that. Hey, listen, when you start singing, everybody knows who it is.
Yeah.
And that's a major blessing. I hope that God has many plans for the future. With me, I would, if that's the case, then I need to. Then it's even a more rare gift. So what do I do with it? Praise God.
Well, I'm so excited about you doing another single record, because when I got this single, it was like, oh my goodness, new John Schlitt. I mean, so some of us in radio are still loving everything you did in the past, but also especially your solo stuff. I'm a fan of Petra. I grew up in the '80s. I loved Petra, but I honestly, like, I'm now like more a fan of the solo stuff. Like that's
Oh, thank
that's
you.
I mean, it's like you
Well,
said, it's hard to compete with what you did in the past, but I have a preference. It's still competing, I know, with like the past, because I love, some of it's nostalgic for me. The singles are, because it was a time in my life where those songs
mhm.
came out, and I identified and loved those songs at the time. But I'm really a huge fan of the new solo stuff. So is it going to
Oh,
be this
thank
year
you.
that's going to come out? Do you think?
Yeah, I'm working on it right now. We've actually got about at this moment about 10 song ideas, and we're still working. We'll have probably about 15, 16 song ideas, and then from that I've got 3 producers. I've got Mark Townsend, who's part of the J band.
Right.
I've got John Lowry is going to do a couple of songs.
Wow.
Because I mean, come
He's
on,
so
he did
good.
the fighting the fight. He did a fantastic job. So and then of course I'm going to have Dan do the majority of it, because he and I just work so well together. It's just he just knows me really well. So, but I wanted to bring in those other 2 guys. Actually, I wanted to bring in John Alfonsi too, but he backed out the last minute. Said, John, I'm just too busy, and
Yeah.
totally understood. But it would have been fun to have John. I'll keep bugging him about that, because I think, like I said, we could do some pretty cool stuff. So,
Well,
I have no qualms about already the ideas that are coming out are ridiculous. So I'm pretty excited about it. Finally, I'm finalizing the finances and stuff hopefully this week, and once I get that, then we're going at it full force. So it should be pretty exciting. Pretty exciting.
well, go ahead.
Have you had any comments about fighting the fight? Have you had any comments from the listeners?
I've only had a handful of people, because I literally just got it. I got it from Jeff McLaughlin.
Yeah,
Um,
Jeff McLaughlin.
yeah, because I thought it was on Play MPE, and he said no, he was sending it out individually. So I didn't get it until this last week.
Okay.
But I started playing it, and there were people asking, "Who is that?" Because some people who don't know your voice from the
Mm-hmm.
past, they were who is that guy? And I was like, just Google it. Google who he is. It didn't take much. And he's been in several different projects, and still is. He's still rocking. I tell you what, I'm turning 50 this year, and there's no way I could rock on the stage. Now I can rock in the audience. I can stand up and have an incredible time as a fan. But oh my gosh, I like Winter Jam last night. I was exhausted. I felt I felt like I had been like on a marathon run or something, because you went from like rock to like slapping your knee to like Run Collective, kind of that rockabilly sound like Need to Breathe, and then you go to like
Mm-hmm.
Danny Goki, he's like full on kind of pop acoustic, and it just kept, it just changed all through the night. And then the Newsboys were just so like high energy, and at 10, I mean, at my age, at 10 o'clock, to be like rocking out to the Newsboys, like it's a lot. You just, the next day you're like, oh my gosh, like how how do these guys
So
still do it?
you're still sore, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
but
but
think
it's
about it.
awesome.
Each one of those bands were only up there for like an hour, hour and a half. You'd went through the whole day. Come on, give yourself a break.
Yeah, I mean, when they have 10 bands, it seems like, it seemed like the longest, it almost sounded like, it felt like a festival, it's just, but it
Well,
was, it was
actually, it
awesome.
is.
Yeah.
The Winter Jam is like a portable festival.
Yeah, and it's huge. I think it's a great testament to say that to the industry, because they are like, it's something like they're the largest attended tour, including secular, for the, I guess, I don't know if it's like the time period or that they're out, or
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they've beat out, Justin Bieber tours and things like that. I mean, because they have such a high attendance, and they turn people away almost every time they pack it out. And I just hope that the industry sees, like, we
Oh, they
really.
do. They see it, but the problem is, the tickets are so low, but they get away with that because what happens is they always come out at a bad time of the year for tours,
Yeah.
and it's the place to be for any artist. So the artists will go in there and do it for a real cut rate, so they can go in and afford to do that. And the audience comes in and says, "Man, for only was it $5,
15,
$10,
it's $15 now. Yeah.
$15 now? For $15, you get 10 of the top-notch artists of that
Yeah.
time. Um, I mean, you get it all. So the industry goes, well, how can we compete with that? We can't go out
Yeah.
to tour. So trust me, there's a plus and there's a minus. You may notice that there's not quite as many tours out anymore
Yeah.
because everybody's spoiled with the fact that, well, I'm going to go see some Winter Jam and see 10 people for $15. Why should I go to another tour and just see one band for 25 or 50? I'll just wait till they come on Winter Jam,
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
hurting the industry. But I am very glad that you like it because it's changed the industry. It really has. Because once you get a taste of that kind of delivery, but the problem is you can't, artists can't do that all the time because they
Yeah.
can't afford to go out and make a living. It's okay if it's just for that
That couple of
core
months.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do so many shows that it works, but that's after getting it developed and if that formula works, but it's very unique and rare. But it serves a purpose. It entertains. It lifts Christ up in a festival way, which I love.
Well, the guys of New Song run that tour, and they always have. And, they're old school. And so, like, they make it. I mean, Russ Taff came out last night, and he's like, this is God's tour. Everything about this, every band you get to see, all of it. I mean, he was like telling everybody to, like, be quiet, and like, you have to hear this. Like, this is not about us. We're doing this
Mm-hmm.
to bless you, but all of us are only here for God. This tour is only about God. It was just it's so great that,
Good.
I think that's, having guys that have been in the industry a really long time
Mm-hmm.
like that. They've seen what it
Mm-hmm.
does. Now, I will tell you
Good.
that I think there's a chance for, like, something cool to happen with you, because, like, they have what's called the Greatest Hits Live Tour now, and it's like Bob Carlisle, Nicole C. Mullen, Rebecca St. James, and Point of Grace, and so, like, they have all these, like, um favorites of the
Classics.
past. And the tour,
Mm-hmm.
they did one leg of the tour in the fall, and they're doing another leg now. Like, it did so well. I think they were like is there still people out there that will like this? And I'm like, I'm the first person to raise my hand. I'm like, yes, please bring it. That's like, that's my stuff. And that it's just a whole other generation that can identify with that. So it'd be really cool to have like you guys and Striper and all, like to have like a tour like that included all like people from all these different bands that were great rock bands of the past too.
Never say never.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll
you
see.
don't. That you never say never. You just keep on
No, I
rocking.
don't, kiddo.
Well, I pray that your health stays well and that voice stays intact because there's so many people that love you, John, and I certainly am one. But I tell you, as much as I love your music, I love your heart more. Like I said, you're still my number one person to interview, and I interview. I mean, like I did just in Winter Jam, like in like 3 weeks, I interviewed 10 artists. You know what I mean? I get, sometimes slammed, but still, I'm like, nope, still not knocking John out of that. I've got some really great artists, but your heart is so amazing. And I think, especially after so many years doing it, I would think most people would maybe start to get a little jaded and the industry is not very kind because it's still an
No.
industry. It's not
Oh, I can.
necessarily the
Oh,
people, it's just the
I can get
industry.
jaded, but I just have. But is that a godly thing? No. Again, I've been gifted. I mean, I've been privileged to be in this position, and there's a responsibility there. And my druthers, my instincts, let's put this, my worldly instincts have no room. Do they
Yeah.
exist? Yes. But they have no room in what we do. So it's like you have to fight the sinful side of yourselves every day, and I do, and I'm so glad that you see the good side of me. I praise God for that. That's what that's the responsibility that I carry as a Christian singer or someone who tries to represent Christ the best he can. Even in the secular world, where I do the heady stuff. Everybody knows what I am. They know I'm a Christian. There's no doubt about it. And I've done some specials with headies before. I did we were inducted into the Iowa hard rock whatever, and
Yeah.
and they were selling beer and everything there, and I was standing on the side, and it's so funny, these people coming up, half looting. So you're a Christian, huh? I said, yeah, I am. He said, you don't drink? I said, well, I could if I wanted. I just don't want to. It's not my cup of tea. And so that it's that kind of thing. Even there, that's a testimony. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in their face saying you shouldn't. I'm saying I don't want to, and I don't have to. And even that slight familiarity with them,
yeah.
or that testimony, they'll remember it even through the drunken haze. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. And what's funny is when I got the new single last week, um, my son is 24 years old and his name's Alex. And when I said, by the way, I said I got a new John Schlitt single, and first words out of his mouth, can I have it? I mean, he he plays. I can hear him when he's playing video games. I still hear when he shuffles his playlist, "Hope That Saves the World." That's his favorite song, and but he's 24, and it's like I'm so glad that like he still sees the quality of your voice and the quality of the single, and he's like, oh, I love it. He's like, it's slow, but he goes, it's still John Schlitt.
Tell him tell him that's the best news I heard all day.
Oh, well, I love that he loves it.
I'm so glad. I would love to be able to reach his generation. I'm just thankful on the ones that choose to hear it. I'm very, very glad. Very glad. They're going through a lot of attacks, as every new generation does.
Yeah.
And that's always been on my heart. I just, again, now I just praise God that anyone listens, and I know that if they do, they were supposed to, and God's got a message for them. So it's cool. Praise God.
Well, I have to actually go for another interview, but I'm telling you, John, I really, I mean, I tell people I'm not like pandering to John Schlitt to say he's my number one person to interview. It's really true. Your heart, I love your music, but your heart, your graciousness, your humility, all of that. I mean, just stay there. Just stay right there and just don't lose that because I think that's why your
Thank you.
music is so special is because the heart of the person behind it.
Well, do me a favor, and if God puts me on your heart, keep praying for me, okay?
Oh, I will absolutely, and I'll pray
Because
about this new record. Like about
oh
what
yeah,
it's yeah. I mean, I know it is. It's expensive. I've actually worked with Christian artists before and helped them when they were doing radios. I mean, they were doing records. I mean, and it's expensive. It's hard. It's kind of hard sometimes to find the time to finish up things and but it's so going to be worth it. But I'm praying for
thank
everybody to
you.
be touched by this new album as well. And I can't wait to see you guys with the Union of Sinners and Saints so I can get me some Jason Fowler and John Schlitt one night. That would be so awesome.
Well, if you know anyone that would like to do a whatever we call it, the
A
living
living
room
room
set,
tour.
basically it ends up being a lot of times people do that. Basically, it just means they can get us for a certain price, and they can put us in a, in a small music hall. In other words, they are personally in charge with us, and it's. So they can put us in a living room, they can put us in a small church, they can put us in a big church, but it's their cup of tea for a certain price, and that's what I'm excited about it because I think a lot of people are going, I like this, I can handle it. Mentally they can handle that.
Yeah.
So keep an ear out, We're it looks like we're getting around. So if there's a place close by, give Sue a call, let her know, and I'll be able to hopefully get you actually in these kind. I don't know if there's going to be a backstage, so anybody who comes is going to be able to talk to us because they're going to be so close to us. It's going to be almost like singing to family.
That's
I
almost
just
like
see it as a
is that like more intimidating? It would be to me to like be in a small. I mean, I guess you probably don't get intimidated anymore
oh
because
no. It I will get used to it, but I'll tell you right now, it is a whole lot harder to sing to a small group
it is.
than it is to sing to thousands.
Because the
I
faces are
guarantee
like
you.
right there. I mean,
Oh yeah.
so
Oh
I
yeah. I mean, you read every expression on everyone's face. You can tell if someone's bored. You can tell if they don't like this. It's quite a challenge. Trust me.
well, I'm going to look out for definitely some ways to bring it to Michigan because I mean, there's plenty of people still rocking out to you. So, and Jason
Well,
Fowler's new. I mean, he's got his solo stuff, so there's fans of
yeah,
his too. So,
and we play some of that too, and he sells his product there, and I mean it's a great chance to get to know Jason. He's absolutely worth hearing.
I love him. I really do. I love his style, and I can't wait to see you guys together. Well, John, I so appreciative of you taking time, and so just keep doing this, please. Uh, I love your heart that you're just like I'm gonna keep as long as I can keep singing. I'm gonna keep singing. I love it because and it's just it I think your voice is timeless. I the same style. It's like it's different, but I kind of like it better only because I can mainly hear you like like especially like fighting the faith. I mean fighting the fight. Like it's I like that slower every once in a while because then I can really
Thank
hear
you.
everything about your voice. And the production
It, it,
is really top notch. It really, of course.
thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
but the actual getting to hear like your vocals a little bit, better because it's not, it has to have a lot of rock around it. Of course, I love that part too, but I like hearing, more of just your voice where it's kind of got the front and center, appearance on
Thank
a
you.
song.
Thank you very much. I thank you. Well, what a beautiful thing to say. just it's always fun to talk to you. I always feel 10 feet taller after I'm done.
Oh, well, that tickles me because I feel the same way. As soon as I get off, like I'm probably gonna just I just get like so encouraged hearing you because it's no matter if you're singing or you're doing what I do, and like I'm a mom with two girls in college and a son that's out of school now, but like kids in their 20s and like it's hard. There's you
Oh
know
gosh, yes.
college. Oh, don't even get me started about how hard that is financially and
Uh-huh.
just helping the girls with that. But just the whole thing, they do fight a whole different set of circumstances and when it's a mom, you see them going through that and it hurts twice as much when
Oh
they
gosh,
get
yes.
tempted or attacked and
Uh-huh.
so I for every time that I get discouraged, I just have to do what you do. Just still get up to the mic and say, "Hi, I'm a mom, and I'm going to take care of this." God's going to do
Amen.
this.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what He will. I mean, it's you just trust the Lord. Just trust the Lord and realize that you will make it through, and that He's got a plan. And I see hindsight is 2020.
Oh,
And you look
absolutely.
back and go, that's
Wish
what
I
He
knew
did.
that
Yeah,
back then. Yeah.
yeah. And that's
Well,
how it works, kiddo.
well, I'm so happy to talk to you, and I will tell my son. He'll be excited that you even talked about him on the interview. So, uh, I
Well, you just let him know that I do appreciate the fact that he considers me someone he wants to listen to.
yeah, and really, he just he listens to a lot of what I have in my music. I have my
Uh-huh.
music hard drive, and it wasn't me pushing him to like you. He just heard that song on my show, and he's like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, I'm
Oh,
like, "Have you ever heard of Petra?" And he's like, "No." you know, I mean,
well,
he's too
okay.
young, and I mean, this was a few years ago, and still he's like, Annie, he's like, I wish I could see him in concert. He thinks you're so cool. So, but it was purely hearing your voice, and he wants more stuff like Hope to Save the World. He likes that. He likes it when you rock it out as much as you
Well,
can.
you tell him that I'm trying to do the same, and there's going to be just tell him have patience. It's coming.
Yeah, I can't wait.
All right.
Well,
All right.
thank you so much, John. I want you to have a very blessed day, and thank you for blessing my day.
Well, you too, my friend. It works out both ways. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, well, I hope so. That's the goal.
Okay. Well, you have a great day too. I know you got other interviews because you're a busy lady, but hey, thanks for spending time with me.
Absolutely. Thank you, John.